What's up? What's up, my beautiful people? How is everyone doing out there today? Man, big things going on. Big things going on. Okay, so I am your host, Nahum Vizakis, aka the Spiritual Bodybuilder, and I am here to bring you the weekly intuitive energy astrology report for the week of May 5th through May 11th. Please, if you haven't yet, go to my website, spiritualbodybuilder.com. Check out the opportunity community. And if you would like a reading from me, you can click on the astrology reading link. And I also offer spiritual health coaching, as well as the opportunity community. Download my free ebook, 25 Steps to Navigating the Awakening Process. So what is going on in the energetic world this week? Well, today is a pretty significant day, as this is the first day of the nodes shifting from Capricorn and Cancer to Sagittarius and Gemini. This is significant because, you know, the nodes represent, the nodes are just points, like mathematical equation points on the moon. Now, each planet has a node, but the nodes that we're referring to for, you know, all intents and purposes here is the nodes of the moon. So these nodes represent the karmic energies that we're facing and going through. And they last they go around every 18 months, right? So Capricorn and Cancer was about, you know, structure, letting go of structures and whatnot. The Cancer is all about, of course, emotions in the home and family. It rules the fourth house. So, you know, we're identifying what emotionally makes us happy, what feels good, what really we desire emotionally, what we want to create for our lives, and how to feel at home within ourselves, in our body, in our experience, right? So now that the nodes have shifted, we have established these emotional foundations, if you will. And now that we've established these emotional foundations, we're going to get cerebral about it. We're going to start to get more in our head and let the world know where, you know, people are like, well, this is wrong and this is why. And then on that side, well, this is why you're wrong and this is why. And the belief system, the thought process is equal on both sides. Now, is there an agenda? Of course, there's always an agenda, right? It just depends on what agenda we want to fulfill. And essentially, we all have an agenda in our heart. We all have, you know, something that we want to create, something we want to be a part of, something that we want to, you know, establish and make happen in our lives. So we are identifying and establishing these agendas within ourselves, and we're coming into this next 18-month cycle where we're getting infused with all this new energy and all this new understanding about, you know, how to get out in the world, especially with all the stuff going on in the world right now. Okay, where we're really having to redefine our life. What's up, Darcy? What's up, Leslie? So, you know, this is going to be, you know, this Aquarius energy too that we're coming into the age of Aquarius. It's all about, you know, soul tribes. And Gemini is also about, you know, community, you know, socializing, networks, and identifying and understanding, like, where is my tribe? Who do I really resonate with? And what do I want to do? Where do I want to go with all this? All right. Because the world is changing. It's never going to be the same. And we have to adapt, creating a new normal. Now, we have to really stand up and step up into our power if we want to be able to create a future that we want to see, create the reality. So it's really important for us to come from a place of love and compassion, self-love, of course, but also Aquarius is about the constrictive, like, you're wrong, no, fuck you, you're wrong, kind of, like, you know, energy going on. The trick is not getting someone that doesn't believe the same thing that you do. You're just going to go down a rabbit hole and they're not even listening to you. Okay. You're seeing this a lot on, hey, what's up, George? We're seeing this a lot on like Facebook, mostly Facebook, but, you know, social media in general, where We have people spouting their opinions. Oh, I read this. I saw this documentary. I read this report, and this is fucked up. And this is fucked up too. So we can't fully get engulfed in all this, because that will bring us down as well. We have to make sure that we're staying in a heart-centered place, and then taking that heart-centered place and coming from a cerebral activity. This is going to be trigger central, guys. Triggering. Thank you, Deans. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate my Opportunity Community Tribe. You guys fucking rock, dude. We're doing some really massive work. If you haven't checked it out, I highly suggest you go check it out. spiritualbodybuilder.com. Check out the Opportunity Community. You will not be disappointed. We're killing it, and we're doing some really great deep work. So, with all this shifting and transformation going, 7 degrees of Taurus, this is going into an area where we haven't seen yet. Okay, why do tribes have to be divided? Well, they don't have to be. It's just it's the belief system, right? So if we were able to have one humanitarian tribe in this world, I would prefer that. That'd be great. But because belief systems are so individual and so strong, Cancer Capricorn. Well, that is definitely the ultimate dichotomy, right? Or I should say the polarity. But the key is, like, especially if you're with loved ones, like family members, loved ones, like, we're all going into our own like dominant belief system. So with going into these belief systems, we have to learn, like, where are we going to draw the way is by focusing on how to educate, focusing on how to be a magnet and bring the people into our world that have the same belief systems as us, like, creating a community or just getting out there and being your authentic self. That energy is nasty and it's ugly. That does nothing beneficial for anyone, right? I'm broken, I guess, because it makes no sense to me to be divided. Well, just because things are divided doesn't mean that it has to break you. You're choosing to allow yourself to be broken. And that is a self-limiting belief system that you have to look at within yourself. Our external environment does not depict or define who we are or where we're at. And that is the difference between the victim mentality and the taking responsibility for your life mentality. And that's another layer of things that we're all learning as good and what feels right according to your heart, and where you're not. And so Darcy, I'm not saying that you're a victim. I'm simply saying that this is the energy and this is where it's at. And you have to look at yourself. And if this is a fact, if you are allowing your external environment to dictate if you are happy or not, that is one of the 4 survival archetypes: either the victim, the wounded child, the saboteur, or the prostitute. I've made videos on each one. You can go to my YouTube channel and look at those. Okay. But of our shadow self that we have not looked at yet, that is reacting in a defensive posture. And and when we are acting, they project it out, right? Oh, you're talking shit. Well, you're doing this, you're doing that. And maybe that's true, but that doesn't have to define you. And that's where we get caught in this dichotomy, right? So we are here. Everyone that is here right now in this world is here for a reason. And we have chosen to come in here in this incarnation in order to be the facilitators of change in this world, right? So acceptance is a big part of this too, right? We all have at least one area of our life that is not exactly where we want it to be, all right? And whatever this part of your world is that is not exactly where you want it to be, that is where you have to do the work within. So doing the work means going within, facing these triggers, acknowledging what is not right and why, and then, seeing, okay, what can I do to go towards that place? And this can be very difficult at first because you have to experiment. You have to get outside the box. You have to figure it out. You have to go and look at it. All right. Right. You have to look at where you hide. And once you look at that, then you can take this knowledge and wisdom and apply it. And, ultimately we're going towards a place of with their own shit. They are facing their own shadow, their own demons. And it's up to us. If we really want to change this world, we have to approach everything with love, right? Any books I recommend for that? I recommend any book by Caroline Myss. Definitely Teal Swan's book. Those are the ones that come up to my mind, and The Law of Wild, Facing Our Fears. Like, I really Teal Swan made a 2020 yearly prediction. Yeah, I know, right? I love Teal Swan. She made a yearly prediction video, which I highly recommend. All of you guys go check it out. But she said that this year we're all going to be facing our deepest fears, collectively and individually. And these deepest fears are coming. We're on the right track. Okay, we are making things happen, and we are figuring them out one thing at a time. And when you tune into content and information like this, it really helps to keep your mind positive and to stay strong and firm in the growth process. As opposed, it's so easy to get caught up because there's so much information out there right now that is, like these people did this, fuck DMT helped this process. What's your opinion on that? DMT can definitely help pretty much everything. DMT is incredibly transformative. Yes, so I 100% agree with that. So we're heading into this new 18-month cycle, okay? Plus, we're heading into retrograde season, and we have Pluto has already gone retrograde, and Venus is now, as of tomorrow, at the degree where it will be going retrograde. So it's basically stationed to go retrograde. And during its station, it is square over to Neptune. Now, this square, it's going to go beyond it, that's going to come back, then it's going to go over it again. So whenever a planet has an aspect and goes retrograde, it has 3 passes, right? Same thing with Jupiter. Jupiter will go over Pluto again, and then when it goes direct, it'll go over Pluto again. Okay, so these are all very significant aspects in factors. Venus is really pulling the inner prostitute in me. Well, Venus is going to be pulling the inner prostitute in everyone. Okay, it's also going to be testing and making us question. Is going to be bringing up our wounded child when it comes to relationship 20 vision. Right? This is a massive reset on all levels. So as we're going through this reset, it's bringing up all the deepest, darkest shit that's in our consciousness, and we have a choice. We can either look at it, feel vulnerable, step into our power, and grow, or we can suppress it and repeat the same patterns that we've been repeating over and over and over again. And look, if you're not feeling right now like things are changing and you're feeling good and you're feeling peaceful in your heart, if you're not feeling that, then you are in the process of possibly repeating a pattern that you don't want to repeat. So you need to take a step back and observe where you're at and where you're going in your life so that you can be aware, or maybe communicate with someone that you trust that will call you out on your shit. Because look, if someone really loves you, they're going to call you out on your shit. And Darcy, it's not really a conscious choice. Like, nobody wants to go backwards. Okay. So when you say there's an unwillingness to go backwards, that's sort of null and void. This is energetic. This is looking at your subconscious patterns and listening to the feeling. Okay. So, so saying that you trust no one, again, is a big problem, because if you trust no one, that means that you don't trust yourself. Not trusting people outside of you is a reflection of you not trusting yourself. So where is that fear coming from? Because that's a fear-based mentality. Okay. So these are the things that we have to look at. Anything fear-based, and it's navigating things like that. And that process is honestly, it's exactly what we do in the opportunity community. Okay. And we call each other out on our ships. And well, I hope that, you don't continue to hurt yourself, because that is not a healthy thing to do. And I think that we need to, love on ourselves a little bit. We all need love, a little bit of TLC right now, some balance. Exactly. So, that's my accountability buddy. She calls me out on my shit and I call her on her. She's my friend, my soul sister. Hell yeah. I love to hear that. And, we all need an accountability buddy, right? So that we can grow and learn. And especially right now, our belief systems are going to become so solidified that if we have someone that's on the same page, that is going to resonate and click so much faster. We're going to see it. We're going to feel it like before it even happens. And this is all about Neptune being at the 3rd decan of Pisces now, this is also bringing another layer of psychic connection. A deeper, we're connecting to a deeper layer within our consciousness, but that also requires a deeper layer of I can't fucking talk today. It also requires a deeper layer of taking responsibility, because if I don't give it the respect that it deserves and have the strength to stand in my emotional boundaries, then that is going to bring all kinds of bad shit into my life, and I'm going to let people walk all over me. We cannot be letting people walk all over us. That is self-love. When we allow others to hurt us, the same as us hurting ourselves. So it's very, very important, don't allow that Chiron energy to take over, or that Black Moon Lilith energy to take over, because right now we do also have Black Moon Lilith square over to Pluto and Jupiter. And that Pluto and Jupiter energy is intense, and it is deep, and it can be painful, but it's also transformative. It is that energy that makes us look at our shit. And when we do successfully look at our shit and we become vulnerable, we open up, So, and then Thursday, we're going to be having this full moon in Scorpio. I just made a full moon video in Scorpio, so I'm going to be posting that here later on today. You can check that out. I'll post a link to it on my story on Instagram and on YouTube. And then I also did another video that I think you guys are going to find very interesting. I looked at Adolf Hitler's birth chart and Bill Gates' birth chart. And then I looked at their progress chart. Adolf Hitler's progress chart when he came into power, and then Bill Gates' progress chart right now. Aspects going on that I think you guys will be very, very, very intrigued and curious to see. Okay. How you let go of the ego. Been stuck on this for a bit. Okay. So letting go of the ego is not necessarily something that you actively do. It's something that you sit in and allow. All right. Because when our ego is in charge and it keeps getting us in trouble, it's the ego is what wants to do something to get over it, right? So it's by establishing stillness in the mind and the body. It said the ego wants to suppress it, it wants to control it, it wants to figure it out. That's the opposite of how it works. You allow it to go through you, and then this energy will teach you in retrospect after you feel it, but you have to feel it through your five senses first. Okay, you have to go into the fear and allow it to teach. Let's see here. So we had a Mercury Cazimi a few days ago, right? Which is basically Mercury conjunct the sun. This is really powerful because, and especially in Taurus, with Uranus and Taurus, this is giving us clarity and insight and feeling into our five senses about who we are, about what we believe, about where we want to go in our life. Okay, so with this Cazimi, this gave us some breakthrough moments. This gave us some aha moments, some insight into where we have to go. I know I had a massive aha moment, I think, on Saturday and Sunday. Okay, so and then with Venus, whatever's been going on in the last couple of weeks in your relationship sector, or how you feel about relationships. We're going to be learning some very deep lessons coming up here very soon. And it's not till really next week where everything starts to go retrograde, but the energies are getting stronger and stronger, because as they slow down, the energy starts to gain strength. Like when you go into basic training, right? When you start, like, it's overwhelming, it's intense, like you're getting pushed, like move. You got to work out all the time. You're puking, you're maybe passing out, or maybe just, feel like you can't do anymore. And but you somehow make it through one day at a time, and you're forced to be in Saturn that are saying, hey, let's go. We got to move. We got to grow. We got to make it happen. And I believe that, there are I'm new in my session. I want to know, do you work on yourself daily? Do I work on chakras, traumas, meditate? I feel overwhelmed and excited at the same time. Okay. So I do work on myself. I mean, it's a lifestyle. It's like lifting weights or working out or whatever. For you, I would definitely recommend checking out my opportunity community, because that is where I work with people every day, every week. We have a 4-phase transformational protocol that we go through to navigate the ascension process. I also have a free ebook, 25 Steps to Navigating the Ascension Process, that'll help to answer a lot of these questions for you. But really, it's not something like I remember when I first started, going through this process, I felt like I needed to know everything right away. I felt like I needed to understand, needed to know. And the more that I dove in deep and figured it out, or thought that I figured out, the more I realized that I don't know shit. Okay. At the end of the day, it's really more about surrendering to not knowing and being okay with not being okay, and just being in the present moment and living from what feels right. Okay. So that takes practice. That's sort of like getting ready for a bodybuilding competition. If you're doing your first competition, you don't know how it's going to go, and you need guidance. So what do? You get a coach, right? And you have them guide you, but you have to trust the coach. You have to make sure that, they're keeping tabs on you, and that you feel, good and solid along the way. Okay. So this is a lifestyle. This is not something that you just do yoga for a week, figure it out, and boom, it's over. This is creating a whole nother life for you, because essentially a part of your ego is dying. There's a lot of ego death going on. And with the ego death, okay, it feels like you're dying. It feels like, you can't function. You might be sleeping, like 16 hours a day sometimes. You might be crying for no reason. You might feel completely fucking lost out of nowhere. Like you don't find enjoyment in the same things. Read my ebook, okay? Because I actually explain the foundation of my awakening process, and I think that'll give you some clarity and understanding with that. You can go to my website, spiritualbodybuilder.com, and check that out, okay? So, well, that's good, Darcy. I'm happy that you're willing to transform, but are you just telling yourself that, or is that your ego? This is where the energy I'm getting for you, because your energy is coming through very strong right here, is that there's a lot your ego talking, okay, and trying to get ahead of the process. All right. So we have to just slow it down and just accept and be okay with not being okay. All right. Judith, hey, my pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. All right. So we have, let's see, May 8th. We have the moon coming into Sagittarius. Okay. Mars is at 27 degrees, almost. When Mars and Neptune conjunct, that's going to be, I give us like a jolt of this. Like Mars conjunct Neptune is like the spiritual warrior. All right. It's like feeling this even deeper layer of belief and need for just justice. Okay. This is like this desire for justice in humanity, in our lives, in every which way. And stepping into that, like this, you have to do it from a place of love. It's really easy to get caught up in the he said, she said, the arguing, the bullshit. Okay. We've got to shut that down. Because that is what the masses are doing, and it's easy. They're like, you ever heard the Mexican crab analogy, where like one crab's in a bucket, it'll crawl right out, but you get a whole bunch of these Mexican crabs, and they all pull each other back down. That's what the masses, that's what these sheeple honestly are doing. All right, they're pulling each other down and getting lost in all this. Figure out your purpose, because look. The awakening process is about coming into alignment with your true purpose in this life, right? And during the process, you feel lost. You feel like you're all of a sudden don't know what you want. You feel like you're taking a step back, where actually you're not. You're just dumping the old narrative, and you have to come into the new narrative, but it's a process. You're not going to know, like you're going to know when all of a sudden one day you're just in the middle of it and you're like, oh, okay, things working on it. Well, I know that feeling very well. And you know what? If you are lost, if you do feel lost, then let that be okay. Connect with other people that feel lost. Share your stories. Just don't get caught up in the woundology of the process. But so on the 9th, we're gonna have the moon coming into the end of Sagittarius into Capricorn. It's gonna Galactic Center is basically it's basically the center of our consciousness. The Galactic Center is the very center of our Milky Way, of our galaxy, right? Which is essentially means the very center of us. So whenever there's a major transit going on there, that is hitting us at our core. And with the south node there, this is about letting go of all the core beliefs that are self-limiting. Because, you know, Sagittarius is about belief systems, about long distance travel too. With Venus being there, you know, pretty close to being conjunct the north node, you know, destiny is calling us in a big major way. And we're going to have, let's see, the moon actually and the south node quincunx over to Mercury, which is now at 26 degrees of Taurus, very powerful position. But when the moon is quincunx to Taurus like that, this is like emotionally, we're just feeling like something's off. We can't put our fucking finger on it. It's something that we have to let go of. Okay. How do you talk to people that are not from Sirius, for example? Do you BS? I don't know what BS means. I don't know about Sirius. Like I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm always telling the truth. So there's your answer. Okay. So yeah, let's see here. So Mars at 27 degrees. It is sextile the south node and trine the north node. Now Mars has sort of moved past. So, you know, that communication was like, okay, cool. We're getting along, but it's like a divine Venus square Neptune. It's very confusing. It almost feels like, you know, we're trying to feel around intuitively, but we're in the or what to do. And then we find something, we stumble upon something, and it's like, whoa, it's like we find a treasure chest. And then, you know, then we pick up this treasure chest and we bring it back, and we're so excited to turn it into, you know, to exchange it for some other currency, to find out that, you know, it's actually like nickel, like it's like gold-plated nickel or something like that, right? So got to be careful with that. Do I think my tribe is from one system? Okay, no, that's not really my, I don't know. My good friend Maru, Sun Soul Astrology, she has gone over all that like stuff with me. I believe she mentioned I had Pleiadian in me and Orion, I think Draconian, but that's not stuff I get into because I really don't know. All right. So yeah, so if you look, nobody should be bullshitting anyone in any way, any form. This platform is exactly for, so, you know, I speak about what I see and I speak about my experiences in the world. The people that resonate with it, you guys come here and you check me out. And the people that don't resonate with it, they're not here. And that's the bottom line. And that's a good philosophy for everyone to abide by because, you know, let's face it, like, if you're not, actually, that's a really great example for what's going on right now. If you are bullshitting, or if your ego is in charge and you're trying to make something happen and create something, especially with the North Node now in Gemini, you are going to get so much resistance and so much slack. It's most likely gonna result in some like physical ailments. Okay, yeah, sure, Darcy, I got you. Well, good. I'm glad you like my way. I like it too. It's the only thing I know, right? And you know. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing, hon? So it is really important, you know, like for a long time, you know, back in the day, I thought I was being, you know, honest, you know, authentic. And I was to the extent that I thought, you know, that I consciously knew, but I still had, you know, learned lessons. And we all have lessons to learn as long as you're open and willing to learn and to grow and realize that you don't know everything. When you come to a situation acting like you know everything about it, that's where the problem is, okay? Because none of us know everything, and most of us really don't know shit, okay? So it's really, really important to be honest with yourself about it and to, you know, walk in that path of authenticity and vulnerability. So that vulnerability is what really makes you connect to people. Yeah, opening up that heart space is where all the truth and the real magic happens. And right now, our hearts are cracking wide open. Okay. And as they're cracking open, it can be painful. Heart expansion can feel like heartbreak at first because it still has to crack open, right? So with this heart expansion, you have to allow the purification process of the opening of the heart to happen. It's just going to let this do its thing, and I'm going to let it teach me. And once you truly surrender to the energies that are guiding you, you almost feel like a puppet on a string. And then you end up in this place that's actually pretty fucking beautiful. Okay? So it's all good. It's all gravy. So on May 10th, okay, we have now the moon entering into Capricorn. On the 11th, it's going to cross over, the three big ones, the Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. So that's going to be a very intense day. But we also have Mars now at 28 degrees of Aquarius. Now, 28, 29 degrees are master numbers. So this Aquarian energy, we're getting another really big hit. And it's coming in to, teach us another, show us that, hey, this new Aquarian age that's coming into play, this new energy that's like, sort of like the future, we're getting a glimpse of it from the divine masculine sense that, hey, we need to take charge. We need to step into this. We need to, move through it. We need to penetrate our reality. Okay. Maximum penetration, baby, but in a authentic and, honorable way. So, and now we have the sun at 20 degrees of Taurus. Now it's in the third decan. Okay. So now we're really getting in, and Mercury is also at 28 degrees. And we have a sun that is, we have the sun that's trine over to Pluto and Jupiter. And we have, we're going to be having Uranus trine over to the moon. This is going to be a really interesting day because a lot of these energies are really speaking in harmony with each other between Taurus and Capricorn. Okay. And with the moon being there, it's going to be pretty powerful. And this is, of course, just a few days after this full moon in Scorpio. So the emotions are very high. We're needing to let go. Like Scorpio is deep. It's secretive, right? It's very sexual. It's very mysterious, but it's very fixed. It's very this is it. So when we have a full moon, that's letting go of something. That's also the veil between the conscious and subconscious mind is very thin. So this is going to bring up a lot of emotional energy and influence for stepping into this next chapter, right? Like being really honest with ourselves. Now, this, on one hand, this can give us a lot of strength, a lot of vitality, a lot of drive, and a lot of really internal knowing. Right? Giving us a deeper, really trust and understanding about our intuition, about where we're going and what we're going to make happen. But it can also bring up some traumas and some shit that we really don't want to feel. So if it's bringing up that, and you sort of doing these lateral transfers where it gets a little more intense, a little more intense, a little more intense, but just hitting different angles, right? Which is it's interesting to look at it that way, because that's also what it seems that these powers that be are doing to the people. They're sort of making these, they're almost testing the waters to see how much they can get away with in these different sides from people without them rising up. How much can we, say and demand to do a certain way before we have a complete revolution on our hands? But it seems to me that, that shit is starting to really, people are waking up really quickly and seeing, hey, this shit ain't cool. You're seeing just stuff everywhere. Now, it's important not to get drug into all this negativity, but it's also important to be realistic and be like, hey, okay, what's going on here? I really need to pay attention to this. All right. And stand up for what we believe in. Now, when we stand up for what we believe in, this is where they know that they're going to try to, finagle us in some kind of way. And this is where we have to be willing to go into the trap and outsmart it at the very last second, to not fall victim to our own temptations, to our own, lax emotional boundaries, to make sure that we stay in our power, we stay in a place of love, but we take no shit, right? This is why, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, all these amendments, they're being violated in some way, shape, or form, okay? And it's getting to a point where, okay, we all have a part that we can play is going to be coming more into full effect, or a stronger effect again. that's why I've been saying, like, for the rest of the year, these energies are going to be going back and forth, and sort of still people choosing sides. All right. So we need to really stand in our power. Shit. Pretty much that sums it up. Okay. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate you, dude. Robin is one of my superstars in my opportunity community. So she's killing it. You're freaking awesome. I love you. Maru, I love you, babe. Go check out my girl, Maru. I actually, today's energy report was done with her. She's actually Maru is the one that teaches numerology. So Darcy, if you're interested, connect with Maru. Go check out her YouTube, Sun Soul Astrology, or her website, Sun Soul TV, and she can really get into all that, those different aspects. All right. I'm super stoked. I can't wait. So look, we're going into a time and a place where our tribe is our vibe, and this is where we're going to become empowered or disempowered. Okay. Let's see. She's the most bombist. I agree. The most bombist. Okay. Starseed DNA, but not numerology. Starseed DNA is exactly what she was talking about. Yeah. So this week is going to be diving deeper into this in this new energy and preparing us for the retrogrades of next week, where the tests are really going to you're learning and start really taking a look at what is this trying to teach me. And when the planets go retrograde, especially Venus, this is going to really kind of throw it in our face, and we're going to be in our head and be like, yeah, okay, like not really sure what to do here. Making new big decisions for like new things in life, not the greatest idea right now. It's good to sit back and observe and sort of sift. We have to sift through all the energetic bullshit. All right. And really like pay attention to what do I want to see happen in the world? What do I stand for? With our vibration, we carry a different vibration out in the world, and you'll find that certain people, toxic people, will just sort of leave. New amazing people will just sort of come in. You become a magnet for abundance. But if you continue to be a magnet for drama and for bullshit, say like you get out of a relationship, then like you're feeling some kind of way, then you bring a new relationship, and it's great, it's hot, it's sexy, it's fucking amazing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh damn it, drama, right? Then all of a sudden you like 2 weeks later you're like, hey dude, chick, we're going in the wrong direction here. We need to stand up and be honest with ourselves. And usually there's an unhealthy attachment there that we have to look at within ourselves and face and feel. And that is taking responsibility for ourselves, right? So when you have that reference point, right? So standing in your power, coming from a place of authenticity, and loving yourself and making decisions based on that self-love. In order to see this, you need someone to call you out in your shit, because generally speaking, we can't see this stuff from our own state of consciousness, okay? So there we go. Well, Darcy, you're lying to yourself somewhere, and we all do it at some point in some way. And, that's why the only people I surround myself with now are people that call me out on my shit. What's up, Shauna Christine? So I am grateful for everyone that's in my life. I have a great group of amazing high vibration people that I work with, that I am friends with, and we rock it, we kill it, man. And we are all doing our part in our own way to raise the vibration, and just to reinforce. We have like this protective bubble that we help and we protect each other and ourselves with. And we make sure that we're all on the same page and calling each other out and just making shit happen, right? Yes, Aaron is pretty fantastic. I love that dude. Okay, so the 11th, next Monday, is we have Mercury at 0 degrees of Gemini. So Mercury is coming in Gemini, and then pretty soon after that, the sun's going in Gemini. We got this Gemini energy coming on very strong, very soon. And then actually on the 12th, Saturn goes retrograde. So the 11th is going to be a very powerful day. Actually, I'm sorry. It goes retrograde. Actually, hold on a second. On the 13th, Venus goes retrograde, and then on the 14th, Jupiter goes retrograde. So literally to retrograde season, and Mars in Pisces. Now Mercury is in Gemini, and now shit's getting real. Okay, so take this time to really be brutally honest with yourself and to identify the toxic energies that are in your life, and then utilize the retrograde energy to purge, to get rid of these toxic energies and move into a deeper place of self-love. In order to move into this deep place of self-love, you have to face this forth, for the last like month and a half. So this energy, especially with it between that and Venus retrograde, man, this is going to bring in some tests for relationships. 100%. This relationship is going to feed the ego. It's going to make the ego, I want it. Please give it to me now. It's gonna want to excite all these addictive senses that we have, and you gotta say, wait a minute, is this good for me or not? You gotta be honest with yourself, because you don't want to pull one of those. Well, it's not good, but I just want it right now. I need it. Give it to me, right? So this test in particular is going to be a very intense one, and we really need to be cognizant about what's coming in, about the impulses. We're going to have these powerful impulses come up. And it's, with Venus retrograde, are we ready for what we think we want? That's what you really have to ask yourself, okay? Or maybe what you think you want is going to actually come with some kind of side effect that's going to really manifest in massive amounts of possessiveness and jealousy and envy and all these negative feelings. That's what happened to me a few years ago during a Venus retrograde. Check out my Venus retrograde and May monthly readings on YouTube, and you can hear my stories about that. And with all that being said, I think I am Dunsky. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please go to Awesome Support System. I love all you very much. I have my full moon in Scorpio video coming out soon, and this video with Bill Gates and Adolf Hitler. I think you're going to find that very, very interesting. All right. So I love you guys very much, and I will talk to you later.